Ready.
Hey everyone, we are the Study Buddies. Welcome back to our channel. In today's video of Biology Edition, we will be learning about the fourth biomolecule, which is nucleic acids. Most of us may have not heard of nucleic acids before, but what do most of us know or may have heard are DNA, or commonly known as deoxyribonucleic acids, and RNA, ribonucleic acids. These two are actually examples of nucleic acids. Nucleic acids are actually biopolymers that later on are made into these two examples. Now, let's look at the general functions of nucleic acids. Nucleic acids sometimes are called as a cellular library because they store information needed for certain cellular activities. Assume it as a manual book for a machine to work. Nucleic acids also store instructions for life and conduct many biochemical reactions in the cell. What is meant by these two statements is that we already know from the previous video on proteins that amino acid sequence is determined in the nucleus of the cell. This is when the nucleic acids play their role. They are actually the biomolecules that hold, let's just say, the recipe to make proteins. Proteins are known for their vast role in many biochemical processes. So, this is how nucleic acids are related to instructing life and conducting many biochemical reactions in the cell. Just like any other biomolecule, nucleic acids are also made up of repeating subunits or monomers known as nucleotides. This is the simplified version of a nucleotide structure. Generally, it has three parts in it, consisting of a phosphate group, a pentose sugar, and a nitrogen-containing base, or commonly known as nitrogenous base. Let's have a closer look at each part of the nucleotide. Firstly, we have the phosphate group attached to the fifth carbon of the pentose sugar. A phosphate group contains one phosphorus atom in the center attached to 4 oxygen atoms. The phosphate group is a polar molecule due to the difference in electronegativity between phosphorate and oxygen atoms. The oxygen atoms are highly electronegative, thus they pull away electrons from the phosphorus group, leaving it partially positive. This creates a polar molecule. This phosphate group is also found in a high energy molecule that you may or may not be familiar with, which is adenosine triphosphate, or commonly known as ATP. We will learn more about this ATP molecule later in this video. Nextly, we have a 5-carbon sugar in the center of the nucleotide. The word pent in the pentose sugar indicates there are 5 carbons in the sugar. The diagram on the right shows a simplified drawing of the pentose sugar. The picture on the left shows much detailed pentose sugars. Deoxyribose and ribose are 2 pentose sugars found in the nucleic acids. Each of the corners of the pentose ring has a carbon in it. If you notice, the 5th carbon is located outside of the carbon ring. There is also an oxygen atom at the top corner of the carbon ring. The carbons in the pentose ring are usually numbered from 1 to 5 in a clockwise direction, starting from the right side of the oxygen atom. The carbon rings are attached to many other functional groups as well. This is where the deoxyribose and ribose differ from each other. If you notice, on the 2nd carbon in the deoxyribose sugar, only a hydrogen atom is attached to it, while over at the ribose sugar, a hydroxyl group is present at the 2nd carbon. The term deoxy refers to the removal of oxygen from the 2nd carbon of the deoxyribose sugar. This happens to make the sugar much stable. Deoxyribose sugar is only found in DNA, while ribose sugar is in RNA. Following that, we have the 3rd part of the nucleotide, which is the nitrogenous base. It is basically a molecule containing nitrogen in it and acts as a base. When I say they act as bases, they share electrons with other elements such as carbon, hydrogen and oxygen to form ring-like structures. So, there are two types of these ring-like structures, which are double ring structure known as purines and single ring structures known as pyrimidines. Generally, purines are much larger than pyrimidines. This is very important, especially when it comes to complementary pairing, which we will discuss in a while. As you can see, there are 5 different types of nitrogenous bases found in the nucleotides. We have the purines, which are adenine labeled with the letter A, and guanine labeled with G. Both of them have 2 rings in their structure. Next, we have the pyrimidines, which are cytosine labeled with C, thymine labeled with T, and uracil labeled with U. These 3 bases only have 1 ring in their structure. Their DNA and RNA are made up of a combination of 4 of these nitrogenous bases. The DNA molecule will only have adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine in it. While in RNA, the thymine is replaced with uracil and the rest remain the same. Now, let's look at the first example of nucleic acid, which is deoxyribonucleic acid, or commonly known as DNA. DNA stores information on how to copy or replicate itself. If you could recall about cell division that you may have learned before, which is mitosis and meiosis, we could know that chromosomes replicate themselves before separating into 2. The DNA is responsible in controlling on when and how the replication occurs in the chromosomes. DNA also specifies the order of which amino acids are arranged. Nextly, a DNA molecule is found in a twisted structure which we call as double-stranded helix. This is mainly due to the complementary pairing between the bases and the hydrogen bonds between the backbone of the DNA molecule. As mentioned earlier, DNA is made up of 4 types of nitrogenous bases, namely adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. Lastly, deoxyribose sugar is found in the nucleotides that make up the DNA structure. Next up, we have the second example of nucleic acid, which is ribonucleic acid, or commonly known as RNA. Generally, there are several types of RNA in our body. Firstly, we have the messenger RNA, or commonly referred to as mRNA, which is a temporary copy of gene that specifies the sequence of amino acids during protein synthesis. Next, transfer RNA, or tRNA. Its role is in translating sequence of nucleic acids into correct amino acid sequence. Lastly, we have a ribosomal RNA, or commonly known as rRNA. rRNA works as an enzyme to form peptide bonds between amino acids in a polypeptide chain. Usually, a RNA molecule is in a single-stranded with no helix structure. Just like DNA, RNA is made up of combinations of adenine, guanine, cytosine, and instead of thymine, uracil as its nitrogenous base. Contrast from DNA, RNA has ribose sugar in its nucleotide structure. Now that we know more about DNA and RNA, let's look at how these two are made in the dehydration reaction. As mentioned earlier, nucleic acids are biopolymers consisting monomers called nucleotides. When these nucleotides arrange themselves as shown in the picture, bonds start to form between the third carbon on the first nucleotide and phosphate group on the fifth carbon on another nucleotide. If you notice, the phosphate group and pentose sugar is exactly the same in all nucleotides, but the nitrogenous bases would vary between the 4 bases mentioned earlier. Therefore, the phosphate group and sugar make up what we call a sugar-phosphate backbone for the polymer. This whole polymer would become an RNA if the sugar inside it is ribose sugar. Let's say the sugar inside is deoxyribose sugar. Another exact chain of monomers will form right beside this chain, but in the opposite direction, kinda in an inverted manner. If you look carefully, the nitrogenous bases on both polymer chains are aligned and undergo complementary pairing where hydrogen bonds are formed between the nitrogenous bases. These hydrogen bonds that hold these two strands together, eventually creating what we call the helix structure of the DNA. These ribbon-like structures are actually the sugar phosphate backbones. They wind up in a helix structure due to the hydrogen bonding between each other. Next, we have a very important concept to be remembered, which is complementary base pairing. So what complementary base pairing says that the base adenine only pairs with thymine and guanine only pairs with cytosine. In RNA, the adenine only pairs with uracil instead of thymine. This is an universal rule in nucleic acid making. If you notice, only a purine and pyrimidine is paired together. Pairing of purine-purine or pyrimidine-pyrimidine cannot occur. This is what I mentioned earlier about the size of these bases where purines are larger than pyrimidines. Pairing of purine-purine would make the nucleic acid very narrow, while pairing of pyrimidine-pyrimidine would make the nucleic acid very wide. Another reason complementary base pairing is important is because only the right pair can form hydrogen bonding between them to form the double-stranded helix structure. Last but not least, we are going to have a look at a rather unique type of nucleotide called adenosine triphosphate, or commonly referred to as ATP molecule. This is a structure of an ATP molecule where it has an adenine as its base, a ribose sugar, and together they are called adenosine, and 3 phosphate groups attached to the sugar, which explains why its name is triphosphate. In the ATP molecule, the bonds connecting phosphate groups have varying amount of energy in it. The last 2 phosphate bonds are unstable and are easily broken, making it a high energy molecule. If you look at the hydrolysis reaction, where ATP is broken down into adenosine diphosphate, or commonly referred to as ADP, a water molecule is added to the ATP and the high energy bond between the last phosphate group breaks. This occurrence causes energy, or exactly 34 kJ of energy, to be released. The hydrolysis of ATP molecule yields 1 ADP molecule, an inorganic phosphate, and energy needed for cellular work. ATP hydrolysis is chemically favored because ADP and phosphate are more stable than the original ATP molecule. And with that being said, this will be the end of this video for the 4th biomolecule, which are nucleic acids. Thank you for spending your time watching this video. I really hope this would be very helpful for you. If you like this content and want more videos like this, do like this video, share this video to your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to be reminded of our new videos in future. You may also comment down below if you may have any doubts on any chapters we have learned so far. We will answer them as soon as possible. Thank you and take care everyone. Goodbye.